Om Shiva, Om Shiva Nama, Hari Hari Mahadeva. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from untrue to true. O Mahadeva, lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from untrue to true. Somebody inquired, somebody asked, somebody inquired that you deliver the words of truth and wisdom. Somebody inquired and somebody somebody inquired and somebody asked that you deliver the words of truth and wisdom. Every chance you get, why it is so significant to have the truth and wisdom, or rather why wisdom, why it is so significant to have this knowledge. To answer to that question is because it brings happiness in people's life. You never rest within. You are unfortunately controlled by mind 24/7. That happens every moment, numerous moments of the day, numerous time during the day, 7 days a week, 30 days in a month, and 365 days in an year. You know the picture. And we just keep going and thinking that this is natural, this is what life is, till our life ends, or rather till our carnation ends. So the reason I deliver the words of truth and wisdom, because the goal of the yogi, the goal of the rishi, the goal of the sannyasi is to bring unity among humans, is to remove the confusion, is to remove the fog. You can only bring peace in the society when you are resting within, when you are at peace yourself from within. You see, you cannot imagine or deliver something to somebody else until unless you have it in the very first place. If I want to borrow $3,000 from you, don't panic. It's just an example. Not that's gonna happen. if I want to borrow, if I want to borrow $3,000 from you and you don't have that, it's not possible that you can lend me $3,000. So, in order to make a happy society and then spread that around throughout the globe, we need and we must manufacture peaceful human beings. That's the goal of the yogi. That's why we yogis and the meditators come on this planet to bring the dharma of humanity up. The word karma and the word dharma in Bhagavad Gita has used the word karma and the word dharma in Bhagavad Gita has been used numerous times, countless times. And as far as I remember, it has been used in Bhagavad Gita more than any, literally, more than any other word. More than more than any other word in Bhagavad Gita, the word karma and dharma. That's why we, the yogis, that's why we, the meditators, take on and jump into the human body to bring the dharma of the globe up, to bring the dharma of humanity up. So I answered their question, and then I wanted to deliver this message so more and more people can be benefit from it, if you understand. More and more people can be benefit from it. That's the goal of the yogi, to spread the word of truth, to spread the word of truth and wisdom around as much as possible in one time, you see. So that's what I answered, that you rest within the one who is resting within. That's why it is so significant, not only knowing the words of truth and wisdom, but performing Kriya meditation. If you understand, performing Kriya meditation, the practical, and after a certain period of time, you start achieving, you start attaining the peace you have been looking for outside. People are crying over the relationships. They are not happy in the relationships. People are crying being single. They are not happy being single. People are crying about the job. People are crying when they are jobless. People are crying when there is a storm. People are crying when there is sun. Human beings have learned and have become conditioned to complain just about anything and everything. Not this is not going to create a healthy society. This is not going to bring us together as human race, if you understand. If you have to make the change, you have to start from within. Once you have enough of that, then it would be automatically natural to resonate around you, because you would have so much that it would be overflowing. Then it would be overflowing, it would be spreading around. You get the picture. Anyway, moving on. So I told this person, so you can rest within. So you are basically, so you can rest within and you are at peace, and then you do not freak out. Then you are not fascinated by the three-dimensional reality which is manifesting in this moment, you see. Then you rest within, and you still perform the human activities when it is needed, but then you take your psychological drama off and put it aside, no matter what that is, you see. You are always, the second reason is, you are always in duality. You are always in friction. You are always in contradiction. You are scared, basically. Fear is no good. If you have fear, you cannot have peace. You cannot have it both ways. I have told you the life energy has no barriers. However, the vacuum basically is the vacuum is limited. That's rather the right term. The vacuum is limited. Life as an energy has no barriers, but the vacuum is limited. What is the vacuum? Imagine you blow a bubble and I blow a bubble, and the bubbles are floating up in the air. You see? Imagine you blow a bubble and I blow a bubble, and the bubbles are floating up in the air, and then you burst your bubble and I burst my bubble. You see, we are bursting our bubbles in the same time, which are floating in the air. When we burst our bubble, what happens to the air which was in the bubble? You see, that's the question. What happens? What happens with the air which was? What happens with the air which was in the bubble? Of course, when there is no bubble, it's everywhere. You see why I'm saying, when me and you are blowing the bubbles and the bubbles are floating up in the air, after that I burst my bubble and you burst your bubble. And what happens to the air basically which was in the bubble? That it is everywhere. If you understand what I'm saying to you, it is everywhere. The air is everywhere. So that's how life is. And what is the bubble? Bubble is the vacuum. Bubble is what is containing the life energy. You see, bubble is the vacuum what is containing the life energy and barricading in the physicality which we understand as accumulation or human body. You see, but the life energy is everywhere. I'm sure I have demonstrated that how it works. So I told this person, then you have no fear. That's why this the words of truth and wisdom are important. Number two, it is achieved and it is downloaded from divine, it is downloaded from sacred. If you understand why I'm saying to you, it is downloaded from divine and it is downloaded from sacred. It is not coming, it is not a second-hand information, it is your very experience. It is not fiction, it is not written, it is not what I'm saying in other words and easy words for you to comprehend, not with any arrogance. What I'm saying is it is coming from the souls, it is not coming from the second-hand information which was given to somebody who was given the same information by somebody, and so on and so forth. Through that we cannot ever know the truth. Through that we cannot ever know the wisdom, basically. Because we knew the truth thousands and thousands years back. We knew the wisdom thousands and thousands years back. But then humans started evolving, not spiritually. They forgot to evolve spiritually, but they start evolving technologically, which is very fine. There is nothing wrong with that, if you understand what I'm saying to you, which is very fine. There is nothing wrong with that. That's how we create the commodities of luxuries. The problem is not to create the commodities of luxuries. The problem is not to use the commodities of luxuries. I'm using one right now. That's how I'm communicating with you. The problem starts, if you understand, the problem starts when you become the commodity of luxury. You understand? I give the example sometime of a car. You are not your car just because you are driving your car. You don't turn into one. If you understand, just because you are driving the car, you do not turn into one. You do not form a bond. If you understand, you do not form a bond with the car. You do not start a relationship with the car. But when we, the yogis, and when we, the meditators, when we look around, when we, the yogis, and we, the meditators, when we look around, we see more than half of the human population, sadly and unfortunately, are functioning like that. They are turning into the commodities of luxuries. That's why words of truth and wisdom are important. Because through the words of truth and wisdom, you are able to see each time more clearly. But the knowledge is not enough, you see. Knowledge of knowing, it is not enough. You have to start doing the practical. You see, you should start doing the practical. And after a certain period of time, when the sufficient distance between your thought process, which creates fear in you, which creates doubt in you, which creates resentments in you, which creates distances in you, if used uncalled for. There are numerous times that you need your thought process, which is fine, but when it is not needed, you can put it away. You see, I use the metaphor of a mask. So what happens basically, you have seen in the theaters, on the stage, certain artists, they express the art and they are wearing masks because they are pretending to be somebody else. So just like that, you take the mask off when it is not needed. The rubber band, I give you the example, the rubber band is attached with the mask. You see, the rubber band is attached with the mask. So your rubber band is very tight. You have We need to lose a little the rubber band. You see, the one who knows the words of truth and wisdom, and the one who performs the practical, his rubber band or her rubber band, if you understand, his rubber band and her rubber band are loose. They can take it off when it is not needed. Hence, they invite peace in their life. Hence, the fear goes, because you see the picture clearly. The more attachments you have around you with the objects, the more attachments you have with your thought process, the more attachments you have towards other humans, you see, that would create fear in you, because attachment bring fear within. You can use the commodity of luxuries, the objects. You can use the thought process to create certain situations and invent the commodity of luxury. You can nurture the life around you. There is nothing wrong with the relationship and the family. You see, I do all of it, and then I'm involved basically. The reason why I am so active and carry so much energy is because I have created sufficient distance between myself and my thought process. And I understand that if it can work for me, it can work for you, because real me and real you is the same. Now you understand why it is so significant, because you don't rest in yourself. You are totally influenced by the psychological drama. Anyway, so I was saying, when these things are around, or when the family is around, nurture the life, nurture the being, but remember something, that one day it happens to all of us, that one day, if by definition it would come to an end. The people are so banded, the people are so banded, the people are so bonded, and they have formed so strong bonds with all this. When the time comes for them, you see, when the time comes for them, they basically freak out, and that's how we create ghost. You understand? So the wise person, the wise man, the sage, the rishi would know that, and the sage wise person or the rishi would say, I am here to nurture life. I am not unhappy within. I am at peace. But when the time comes, I need to move on. If you understand what I'm saying to you. When the time comes, I need to move on, because it does not belong to me. My own psychological drama, or my mind, or my body, when I have no possession on this, how can I be possessive towards people, or have the sense of possession towards the objects around? You see, that's how the wise man thinks. And wise man becomes prepared with the truth and wisdom. Wise man becomes prepared with the dedication towards yoga and kriya meditation, and just anticipate for that moment, and is still happy, is still totally involved with everything, not unhappy, is still happy and totally involved with everything, but has the awareness. So when the time comes, such a being, and I'm not joking with you, so pay attention to my words, when the time comes, such a being has a certain level of mastery on his body or her body, or on her body or his body, and they can start withdraw consciousness step by step. Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna details in Bhagavad Gita, which is the sacred book of Hinduism, and he gives the instructions even about the how to die. You see, have you heard of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi? Have you heard of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the Beatles group? You have heard of the band Beatles. Of course, it's an epic, everybody knows. So Maharishi Mahesh Yogi from India was the Beatles' guru. You see, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was phenomenal being, you see. However, this is the wisdom that I'm delivering here, and I'm including him for a reason. So when his time came, he was aware days and days before. So he went into seclusion, and he withdrew consciousness step by step through his body. You see, that's how a yogi, in other words, I'm saying a yogi decides his own bodily demise. A yogi has certain mastery. That's how the wise person goes. The wise person does not freak out. You see, um, so because the in the last moment, the fear, the paranoia, the resentment, if you are carrying grudge towards somebody, God forbid me, or if you are resentful, God forbid me, or if you are scared, and if you were contemplating for numerous years, and now you made an identification out of yourself, you made a personality out of yourself, you made an image out of yourself. Now you got to attach with the experience, you understand, and now the time has come. In the last moment, you do not have enough time. In the last moment, we do not have enough time. Obviously, it has to happen to each one of us. So in the last moment, we don't have enough time, you see, to just make everything good and become ready for it. No, it is not possible, because it has now it has become a part of your tendency, you see, because you were attached. It has become a part of tendency. And usually a person knows when the time is near. Usually a person knows. The person has the awareness somehow the time is near. So it becomes the part of the tendency. Now it is not possible, sadly and unfortunately, just to undo everything. The time is right now to do something so it doesn't become the part of tendency. That's why the words of truth and wisdom are significant. You have your answer, my friend. You have your answer, my fellow human being. It's a great thing you ask. And I always encourage you to ask questions, because when you ask questions, I have an opportunity to elaborate on things which can make a difference in the society. You see, that's why the words of truth and wisdom, that's why this knowledge is important. However, knowledge itself is not sufficient. Knowledge itself is not what the word I'm looking for in English, more articulate word, adequate. Knowledge itself is not adequate. You have to do practical little by little, you see. So you would have the awareness that I am nurturing the life around. You would have the awareness that I am using the commodities of luxury or whatever makes the three-dimensional experience, but I am not attached to it, because attachment would bring fear. And in the last moment, when our time comes, in the last moment when our hour comes, we freak out, because now everything for us, whatever we have invested our awareness throughout the carnation we lived, is now coming to an end. You see, unfortunately and sadly, not unfortunately and sadly in a way that it is coming to end, but unfortunately and sadly that we did not dedicate ourselves to know the truth and wisdom. We didn't make enough time for ourselves through the lifetime or the carnation that we lived to bring awareness, and now we are freaking out. If we are freaking out in the last moments, that is not good, you see. As I said, that's how unfortunately humans create tormented souls and ghosts, because the more attachments we have towards the three-dimensional experience, which is a very narrow band, the more vibrant the life energy is. Not vibrant in a sense of ever evolving spiritually. Don't There is a distinction. There are two type of vibrance, you see. One vibrant is the life energy so vibrant spiritually, means the true life energy is so vibrant spiritually that the being is totally at peace. The second vibrant is the person has formed so many no fight. The person basically has become so involved in the three-dimensional reality that now the vibrant, the life energy is stuck. That's what I'm saying, in the three-dimensional experience. That's also vibrant in that sense. I hope you understand the distinction I just gave you. So if it is, and such a person, when it passes, other human beings who are more receptive. Thank you. Other human beings who are more receptive towards the paranormal. Other human beings who are more receptive. Some of us can sense things than other cannot. You understand? It is also the part of tendency. Those humans who are more receptive can see such a being even though the being has passed on. That's how people witness ghosts. And sometimes the eye of the camera even can capture that, because the more vibrant or the fascination was there, the more the more infatuated the being was with the three-dimensional experience, the more it would be visible to such beings. You see, I have posted a small video, that tree right across from us. It is an old tree, probably 300-400 years old. I don't know. It's very difficult to put a it is very difficult to put a number on it, you see. But I see beings sitting on the branches. These beings, I I see these beings sitting on the branches. Good morning, baby. I see these beings sitting on the branches of the tree. You see the roots are coming, and as I said, that's what the clairvoyant is. We become more receptive. We can see things that an average person cannot see. I can see them. They are not very visible, you see. And of course, they are going unnoticed. You know the reason why? Because an average person, an average person cannot see them. There is no better, there is no superior, that if I can perceive beyond the barriers. You have heard the term barrier? There is a person that beyond, a person who can see beyond the barriers of physicality is better or superior. No. Universe does not acknowledge anything like better or superior or more intelligent or anything like that. Universe only acknowledges and admire and the one who is more aware. There is only one analytical approach in universe, which is who is more aware and who is less aware. Time has come for me to conduct a private meditation session, as you heard the bell. But you got your answer, though. I have elaborated on it. Sorry, we only had half an hour today. But time has come anyway. I have answered your question, that I have gave you numerous reasons. I elaborated and explained in detail that why it is so significant to have this awareness, why it is so significant to have the wisdom. You see, wisdom is common sense. The reason it doesn't seem so common because we are cluttered. You see, so if you have any confusion, if you are perplexed, I hope you are following. If you have any confusions, if you are perplexed for any number of reasons, if you misunderstood something, it is very possible to misunderstand things. If you misunderstood something within you, if you didn't get something right within you, because I am only responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for how you perceive. That's why it can create a confusion. So write me and I would clarify further. As I have told you, my services for the mankind are free. Since we have a couple of minutes, let's meditate. Do some practical.